Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and I want to thank you for joining us. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and you won't miss a single episode. Today we've got Sandy. Well, I know Miss Sandy anyway. S.W. Lawrence, M.D. Haha. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. Actually, by now it is afternoon.
It is
Warm-up is
afternoon. Yeah,
done.
on my clock it says 12:04, and we had to reschedule things because of my scheduling. Anyway, thanks for joining us today.
I am delighted to be here.
Now, you are known for your books as a climate activist, actually, and I see your stuff online for that too on Facebook and things where you have climate activated things. Tell me about how you got into this part of it from being a doctor.
Well, it wasn't from being a doctor, I will say. I had to realize recently that when I exited high school, I had to think back and realize and ask myself, what was I really worried about or interested in then? And there were two issues. One was nuclear proliferation, and the other was overpopulation. And actually, I'm still concerned about those two issues and have been ever since. I
Sure.
was not interested in medicine then. I was fairly rebellious with my father, a physician, and my grandfather was a physician, and our son and daughter-in-law are physicians. It's a medical family. So I didn't even consider going to med school until I was halfway through my sophomore year in college, kind of a late start. And how, did I get that? Not, that was so before medicine, I was very much involved in environmental issues and always have been. Even when I was in training still in my residency in San Francisco, from 1977 to 1980, I gave my first public speech about an environmental issue. It happened to be nuclear power at the time. So again, that's just been a constant in my life, those issues.
Well, now you're an author. And
I guess I am, although I
I,
call myself a writer, but
well, there you go. I guess we're writers before we're authors because they told me you're not really an author until you publish, and therefore you can write all kinds of things. But as I was, I've got multiple books written that I haven't published. Some are even award winners, but I did become an author down the road, a couple books back. And I will start off right here with saying they're misnumbered. Come on.
it's a constant complaint, and it's a refrain that I hear from other people as well. I started out writing what I thought was going to be a narrative nonfiction book, and I grew to well over 100,000 words, past 120. And I realized from some writing friends that I was gathering at that point that I couldn't do that. I needed to decide, since my characters were all fictional, that I was really writing what we now call climate fiction. And so they got misnumbered in the sense that the first one I published I put all the information about climate science into the middle book, number 2 of 3, called Climate Dragon. And then this one is the successor to that, called Cloud Dragon. But the first one, which is called Fossil Dragon, because it
Hasn't been written
discusses
yet.
a fossil dragon you have not heard of, because that has all the information about the fossil fuels, so coal, oil, natural gas. And
And
so
that's
that will be coming out
listed as,
next year.
yeah.
I was just earlier today going over the manuscript for that. I'm down to about another 30 pages of review before I call up Lisa Daly at Sidekick Press and ask if she'd be willing to accept another book from me. I'm certainly hoping that she'll pick it up.
Okay. So your precursor will be your final book, which is actually the first book of the series.
You've got it.
Whew, all right. Hey, yeah, I do my homework. And I go, okay, wait, no, he started out with book two, went to book
No,
three,
no,
now
no, that's
book one.
okay.
So that but hasn't come
Don't
out yet.
overthink it. It's all right.
It's all right. You know what? They read pretty well. They do. Why don't you go through the storyline some with us? I know you've got your climate weirding, um, and re-engineering of the electrical grid. Those that's in there. Tell us the story.
Okay, there are so many names besides just global warming or climate warming or climate change. And one of them that I actually heard many years ago from a woman named Hunter Lovins, who was then married to Amory Lovins at the Rocky Mountain Institute. And in a conference that my wife and I attended, she talked about climate weirding, and that phrase just stuck with me. And so
I
to
like
not
it.
have to say climate change several hundred times in a book, I use a number of alternative phrasings.
Oh, I like that one. I mean, it
Yes.
does catch your attention.
It's
You go, oh,
evocative.
that
Yes.
makes sense because that is it. Things are happening. It's changing. It's weird. So I do like it. There, you got my word of approval.
Good.
So what is the story about?
The story is about the four main characters, and actually all four are involved in all three of the books.
Hmm.
They started out as young people. All of them are in some sort of graduate school, and they in in the initial book in Fossil Dragon, they all are meeting for the first time and getting together and being established as couples and so forth. This particular book is further along, where um, basically the Jake, the main character, the protagonist, has already gotten out of his graduate school in electrical engineering, is now teaching as an associate professor, and also then his partner, Abby London, who is the infectious disease specialist, has finished and is out in practice and is dealing with infectious diseases of all types of exotic sort. They continue to be focused intensely on what's going on with climate change and making personal efforts to deal with that. For Jake, as mentioned, he's trying to repair and re-engineer the electric grids of North America, which is actually a very serious and current dilemma that we have.
I do understand.
And then
Yeah.
Rachel London, who is the infectious disease expert, surprise, surprise, runs into another exotic disease that has never been seen in the Western Hemisphere, one that is sometimes fatal, but less often so than the one dealt with in Climate Dragon. Together with that, what I really focus on is the other half of the definition of client fiction or cli-fi is not just that the characters are tied up in it and it's very much a part of their lives, but also there are climate events taking place. And in this book, I had to go through the chapters and count them up. There are 10 different climate events that happen. This one has 10. So you can have a flash flood and a drought. You can have all kinds of things. There's increased incidence of lightning, probably by about 50% by the end of the century. And so the lightning causes some havoc at one point in the story. But I think that should be really, by personal bias, an integral part of any book that claims to be climate fiction.
I would think so. Makes sense to me. Yeah. And well, like any story, there's not normally just one character arc. There's several things happening so they combine and make a better story. Yeah. And like I said, it's climate is important to you. So I do run into your posts on Facebook and things once in a while that brings these to my attention, which I enjoy because I like to know what's going on. And there's just too many things for me to catch all of it by myself. So to have somebody bring it up and stick it in front of me and say, "Oh, look at this," I do. I like that.
I would expand on that actually at this point, Strider, in that I'm not just on Facebook. I just recently added my 11th social medium, and I try and post every day that I'm not traveling. It doesn't always work, but figure about 300 posts a year, but in a wide variety of subjects. Some are just pure science. Occasionally there's some whimsy, like with a single cartoon, but most of the time I'm talking something climate related, grid related, and so forth.
That's a lot of work.
It is a
That
lot
is
of
a
work,
lot of
but
work.
I think I began to realize not too many months ago, and I've been doing blogging for about 5 years, that I spend a lot more time actually blogging than writing. It's hard to find time to get back to editing my book and so forth. I also have a fourth book plan. Maybe we'll have time to discuss that later. And so the blogging also is reaching out to tons of people. And so I'm reaching out with a whole lot of people more than I will ever reach with the books because the books sell in the hundreds, whereas impressions on social media, that's a huge. I have no idea how many on all 11 social media. One last
I agree.
comment, a caveat, being on X, usually what I do is post and run. I'm the opposite of lurking. I post quickly and then go. If there's something right in front of me as I start the post, then I will read that or glance at it. But with X, since I'm so recently back on it, I look sometimes with interest and sometimes with frank horror at the things that are being posted there. I don't respond to those. And in fact, when people respond to my posts with any kind of sort of hostility or misinformation, I'm very calm about it. And I simply try and talk them down from the cliff, I guess.
Well, everybody has an opinion, and there's too much misinformation as well as information. You just have to filter. You do. And it's
Yes.
part of our world nowadays, and we have to learn how
Yep.
to deal with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Just like scams and fraud, you just have to be very, very careful.
As
Yeah.
I know personally. Yes.
Me too, by the way.
Mm.
So once you get your face anywhere or a name anywhere, you get hit more because you're that much more known. So your next book, Fossil Dragon, it is book one of the series, which comes out last,
Are you
and
sure
that's all
about
right.
that?
We
Let me
talk.
check my records here. I think so. Yes. Fossil Dragon is number one.
uh, and you're coming out with that pretty soon.
Well, I hope so. Again, if I found the time to do all the editing and review that I should have, that could have been out already. I really did want to focus on getting this book right now, number two, The Cloud Dragon,
Cloud
out
Dragon.
because I just in the last few weeks I completed the 10 hours of listening to the audio tape by my two narrators. And so I finally got that off. So pretty soon the audio for the second book will be coming out.
All right.
And so that's kind of a major step right there.
Well, may you find the time to get it all done, as I will attempt to do. See if I can get my book out there too, because
Okay,
that's
good.
timely. That's the element. And
What is your book, by the way? What is it about?
Recalled? That's book three of the Adventures of Ronan Stone. Finished
Okay,
up that trilogy, and then we're
okay,
already into the next series, which is Captain Bell and the Lady Luna, which is an offshoot of the first, The Adventures of Ronan Stone. So we got that started and going. I just have to finish up the one so I can get to the next. Hey, Sandy, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And Cloud Dragon is out there now, and we'll look forward to Fossil Dragon when that comes out. You
okay.
let me know, and we'll get that on
All
where the
right.
rest of them are at DurhamPublishing.com's bookstore. You can click to it there or look down below, and there'll be a direct link to it. So thanks, Sandy, so much. And the rest of you out there, thanks for spending your time with us here at Author in the Headlights.
I
Next
appreciate it
time.
very much.
You bet. Bye, all.
Bye.